So, I wanted to ask you, do you think it's a good time to invest in buy to let right now?
Um, okay, so investing into buy to let right now, is it a good idea? A lot of people will say no to you, right?
Mm.
Because interest rates have shot up crazy. First of all, if you're a cash buyer, it's a great time to buy, in my opinion. But also, if you are not a cash buyer and you are a traditional, like most people are mortgage buyers, right? It's still, in my opinion, a good time to buy because what's happened. Well, I'm talking about the areas that I know quite well, which is like Tower
Tower Hamlets,
Hamlets,
East London.
East London, but if we focus on, let's say, Tower Hamlets, even like inner city, like North London, like Islington and stuff like that. If you keep a close eye on those areas, even Hackney and places like that, which I have over the last few years, prices were consistently going up until like just before COVID.
Oh,
Yeah, just before COVID, things started slowing down quite a bit. Uh, Now, what's happened is since then, I mean, to be honest, during COVID, it dropped. In those areas, it dropped. In outside of those areas, let's just say like Barking, Dagenham, all the areas of houses, so surrounding London, those prices shot up.
oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah, they went up quite a lot because initially during COVID, obviously there was no movement, but soon after, people had an appetite to buy. The government gave us loads of incentives as well. There was a
Yeah.
stamp duty cut. Loads of things were happening during that time. It really pushed the housing market, but not necessarily in the inner city areas. So places like Tower Hamlets, Hackney, and stuff like that, there wasn't a whole lot of sales happening. There was some, but not in the same kind of speed and volume. And those areas, what happened was the prices started climbing, and it got really high. Now these sort of like Tower Hamlets areas and stuff like that, those kind of stayed the same. Now it's been 3 years already, but even before, if before COVID, things did start slowing down a little bit. Um, Now, obviously, if you're a new buy to let buyer, you're looking at rates between like 5.5 and 6.5. Previously, you would have paid like £500-600, on a borrowing of that of like you know 300. Let's just say again, we'll use the same example.
Same
Property
street.
across the road. Let's just say it's worth £400,000. You'd probably be paying mortgage or interest only mortgage of only about £600. It will let for like £2,500 or £2,000. There's a huge margin there,
Oh,
right?
okay.
But now what's happened is that same mortgage will be worth, I don't know, about 1,400-1,500 pounds
Oh, so
per
it's gone
month.
up quite a bit now.
Yeah, so it's eating into people's profit margin. Now, another thing that happened also is that the rents shot up. In the last year, rents went up crazy. So during COVID, rents went slap, like, rock bottom. Yeah. Soon after, it started going up slowly, slowly. Last year, it went up quite a bit. This year, it's gone up a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, I'm looking at a property um, where the rent is like above £3,000. It's similar kind of property that example that I'm talking about, but there's still a margin of like £1,500 a month. Yeah,
That's
anything 1,500 to £2,000 a month. That's pretty good for anyone's like standard for, and
yeah.
especially like ex local, just like in the mid level property. Let's just say in London, that's pretty good margins, I would say. So is it a good time? Yes, just based on the simple fact that you know yes, the interest rates have gone up, but rents have
But
also
also
gone
rents
up.
have gone up, so it makes
Yeah,
up for the high
it's cut.
interest
Yeah,
rates as well.
it's leveled again. Do you see what I mean in
Yeah.
terms of what the margins are? Now, the other thing is that a lot of people might be like, yeah, what about all the tax issues that we have? Like, we can't get, you can't use a mortgage as an expense anymore, right? Section 24 and all this stuff. Now, if you're going to be a serious landlord, you have to start thinking about your tax structure more seriously. You can't just do your normal self assessment. You have a job, you have a property, and now you're going to add it up, and you're going to give the taxman what your bill is or what your income is, and then you're going to be a high rate taxpayer, and it doesn't make sense anymore, right? You got to be a bit more creative. Like if you're going to buy, you could buy in a business. Yeah. Ultimately, look, buy to let is a business. People are like, oh, buy a property, get on the ladder, da, 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 da. But if you're buying a buy to let property, you're essentially buying a little business. And now
Yeah.
if you've got another one, you've got another little business. Each of them have to make sense. If they're not profitable, then you're gonna start
You're gonna.
sell it. You sell
Yeah.
your business. Do you see what I mean? So I look at them all like all little businesses. Now, if that's what you have several little businesses. You have to start thinking like a businessman and have a proper tax structure around it. So now, yeah, you might now buy a property in a commercial, like you're basically buying um, in a business, basically. So you buy a business, and then you buy. So when I say you buy, you create a business, you create a company, and then you can buy properties through that. Yes, the interest rates are a little bit higher, but ultimately you can
Lower
use
the tax.
yeah, you can use your mortgage as an expense.
Oh, okay.
For those that don't know what I'm talking about, let's just say previously, you know, previously you were allowed to use your mortgage as a normal landlord. You were allowed to use your mortgage as an expense. That means if you bought a property that had a rent of, let's just say, £1,000, but your mortgage was £500, you would be taxed on the extra £500 profit that you made.
Okay.
Yeah. Now they're saying no, that's not. They're not letting you use that as an expense, which means you're going to be taxed on the full £1,000.
Do you think it was this rule like did it come out just this year, or was it it's been around for
It's
a while
been
now?
around. I think it came in a phase of over 4 years, and it ultimately, I think it was 2021 or 2020 that it fully came into effect. They phased it in a little bit stage by stage, but yeah, that caused a lot of upset in the buy-to-let market. A lot of landlords sold. You know,
So it did affect a lot of landlords. What did you say?
yeah. I mean, so what happens is, look, another thing people need to think about is when you make things hard for landlords, a lot of people don't like landlords. Yeah, they say a lot of mean things about them, greedy, this, that, and the other, whatever. So, but if you squeeze the landlord so much, don't get me wrong, I believe there needs to be a certain amount of regulation for landlords. But if you squeeze the landlord so much
There's only
that,
so much they can take.
yeah, so I mean, there's only so much, but they will sell, right? So once they sell, what happens now? I think last year or the year before there was a stat of there's 50% less properties than there were previously. Yeah, that's what that was a rough stat that someone gave me. I remember. Now, what happens? That might be totally made up by the way. But there is something. There is a stat that where there's a lot less landlords than there were previously. Yeah, what that means is that's one of the reasons why the rent's so high right now. Do you
Because
see?
it's
Because people aren't. I mean, landlords aren't necessarily selling it to other landlords. They might be selling it to someone that's just getting on the property they had to live in. You see what I mean? So first time buyers or whoever, like just home movers. Yeah, because when price of property comes down, you know,
the increase in buyers.
there's an increase in buyers. Do you see what I mean? Generally, um, yeah.
So do you think there's like what areas would you invest in then from in the buy to let?
I would say if you're around London, I would say look at inner city London, which means not central London, but just like
Surrounding
the
areas.
surrounding areas like Tower Hamlets, Hackney, Camden, any of those areas surrounding. There's good deals to be had, like Southwark and stuff like that. Southwark's really good. But yeah, I mean, if it's Tower Hamlets, come speak to me. I'll find you a good deal.
Maybe.
But guys, if you enjoyed it, please press the like button, subscribe, share it, comment as well because it really helps on the algorithm. And if you want to see more of this, let us know. Put it in the comments. And if you have more questions, put it in the comments, and then we'll try and take those comments and make another episode. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.